Good morning to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion for Sunday, May 27th. We're talking about Alberto, still a subtropical storm in its classification, but as I'm going to show you on satellite here in just a moment, that will probably change later because the structure is getting better organized, more resembling a tropical storm as most people are used to seeing and hearing about, etc. So here's the 11 o'clock information from the National Hurricane Center. Moving north now at 14, winds are up to 50 miles per hour, and the pressure is the lowest that it has been so far at 994 millibars. So it is starting to strengthen, and it is taking on a more classic look to its overall structure. Here is the track map from the National Hurricane Center, looking like a landfall somewhere west of Panama City Beach, maybe east of Destin, somewhere in that area. That is for the center of circulation, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. It doesn't have an eye per se, but that's for the center of circulation. The effects are going to be away from the center, and it just depends on the structure of it. And let's look at that here. This is the GOES 16 visible animation from weathernerds.org. The National Hurricane Center and the GOES 16 site was having problems with their updating satellite imagery, so here we are. We'll use this. It's great to have people that know how to put things together outside of the government realm. I guess it's just one of those things. So, the center of circulation, you can fairly clearly see right in here. All right, so lots of rain over to the east side. This is coming up into Collier County and Lee County, offshore, coming across Cuba into the Bahamas. Very heavy rain. So yes, there is still a lot of rain on the east side, but the circulation itself over here, closer to the center, not much precipitation on the east side. Lots and lots of it on the west side. Why is that? Because now we're getting some shearing wind and drier air coming in from this way, pushing the convection away from the center to the northwest. But look at this. We're starting to develop a little bit of outflow over here. You can see that. And I think the organization of this system is going to continue to improve, and it is eventually going to move up towards Apalachicola and points west from there. It's just off the map right up here over the next 24 hours to 30 hours. Now, where this makes landfall and where the center is really won't matter in terms of the core effects. It doesn't have an eye wall or anything, and it hopefully won't. That would be pretty bad. You never say never, but I doubt that's going to happen. And it's going to just depend on what the structure is. And, when I was talking about these bands, so this one right here cutting across the lower Keys and coming into parts of Collier and Lee counties, it's a lot of lightning in there. Some of these could produce waterspouts or tornadoes over the inland areas. And it is impossible to know where these set up. Those can't be forecast 6-12 hours out ahead of time. So you're going to just need to be vigilant and watch this either on National Weather Service radar or use something like Radar Scope, a very, very powerful app for both Android and iPhone, iPad products, etc. So we'll continue to monitor this. It's moving north quickly enough now that at least it should be inland and out of the water, and the strengthening process done by tomorrow evening. But then we're going to have problems over the interior part of the southeast here. Alabama, this is going to come right up into Alabama, and any of those strong bands could produce tornadic supercells, very small sort of bean-shaped supercells that you'll see on radar, and very heavy rainfall. So this is going to be an issue once it's done with its coastal impacts. All right, please don't ever forget that. You have the blue area down here indicating the tropical storm warning all along the coast, but your inland areas up here within the cone of uncertainty, you can just also look at that also. In this case, that's where a lot of the impacts are going to be too. All right, this is not a very large system like Irma was. That was a huge, huge hurricane, and it affected a giant area. This is a lot smaller. But it's going to have a lot of impacts even for inland areas, downed trees, scattered down trees, power lines, and the threat of severe weather, flash flooding, all of that could be an issue. All right, Real quick, I want to go back to the satellite. So here is Cedar Key right there. I kind of using the same color that the map background is. I have a camera that I placed there last night. We're using these new Nest cameras, and this is a time lapse from it, from sunrise through about the last few hours. And you can see that onshore flow with the clouds coming in across the area from south to north. And then the precip setup started to rain a little bit. A couple of squalls moved in, and it looks like it sped up. You see that? That's not the time lapse speeding up. That's the acceleration of the clouds moving faster. And they're also maybe a little bit lower, so they're closer to the camera. But this gives you an idea, not very, it's not rough out there or anything, nothing like Hermine, but nevertheless, you see the water churned up a little bit, some heavier bands of showers that came through over the last few hours, and then the different layers of the atmosphere. It's just really neat what we can do with these cameras now, and we hope to do a lot more to be able to show you the impacts of what's going on. You notice too, and here's an economic impact, okay? Not a lot of traffic out there on Memorial Day weekend. And this is why this is important. That's going to impact the businesses out here. Hopefully tomorrow things can be salvaged, but there's more to this than just rain, surge, wind, etc. These storms have an economic impact, and so reporting on them accurately as to what's happening, I want to show people, look, it's not that bad at Cedar Key. Head down there. I mean, this is just a good example of where you can see that it's not, it's just a rainy, kind of squally day. And if you can duck inside to one of these great restaurants or the shops they have there, enjoy it. All right, so the 6Z GFS here, this is a GIF animation. This is interesting. I can't stop or start this. It just goes, regardless. But look what happens here at the beginning. This is the 850 millibar vorticity, and you can clearly see as we start right here, not as well organized, but right there before landfall, those last few frames right there, and there, it really sort of tightens up and becomes more structurally sound in its appearance here. And that has me a little bit concerned that it'll ramp up more, maybe 60 to 70 miles per hour before landfall. In 2001, I was down in this area with my good friend Jesse Bass when Barry made landfall. That was in August, a different event. Water temperatures were warmer, but the shear that had been keeping Barry in check relaxed, and Barry ramped up very close to hurricane strength with a pressure of about 992 millibars. Alberto was already down to 994. So any more organization to this system could bring it 60, 70 miles per hour in some of those stronger rain bands. So just when I see this, it'll be interesting to see what the afternoon, well, I guess the morning models that come out in the afternoon. This is the 6Z run, meaning it was initialized at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. The 12Z run initialized 6 hours later. We'll see what that looks like, and I'll probably comment on that on Twitter or something like that, because eventually I'm going to be heading out. Real quick, just looking at the watches and warnings for the inland areas, kind of indirectly related flood watches here for parts of the Carolinas, including the Appalachians. All right, that's a big threat. Mudslides, rock slides, the flash flooding up in the mountains there. Please be mindful. If you know people that are camping out there, get word to them. There is a flash flood watch in effect for that area. As Alberto moves in, I expect that a lot more of these counties are going to fill in green. These oranges are your special marine warning areas down here. You see that right there. Get rid of it for you. A lot of problems. It's not a major impact, but the economic impact to lost revenue over this Memorial Day weekend, I understand that, okay? But we still have to deal with this, and people have to use common sense, slow down driving through those rain bands when they happen, and, just stay indoors. If you can take an extra day off of work, maybe Tuesday will be really good. Tell the boss, look, a storm ruined it. Can we please have an extra day? I don't know. I'm trying to help you out here as best I can. So I'm going to be heading down towards Alligator Point, and then areas west of there, between Alligator Point and Destin, to put out more of these camera systems. And our Patreon members who are supporting what we do, the people that have our app and our HurricaneTrack Insider folks, be sure to log in and you can see those cameras. We are no longer sharing them on social media because we're going to go broke if we do that. And so we have this Patreon set up and we have our app. It's called Hurricane Impact and it's only $4. I mean, come on. What I do, if it's not worth $4, I guess, stop following me or something. It's like, I mean, if you don't have it, I understand that. But we want to make things as available as we can, but we got to pay for it. The gas down here is like almost $3 a gallon. Are you kidding me? So anyway, but I will put some time lapse and a few still frames on social media to keep you up to date. Not trying to charge money for everything, but we got to pay for what we do. So I hope you understand that. Follow along on Twitter at HurricaneTrack. I'll post along the way, and this will be free for everybody. I will stream live on YouTube from now until tonight, and then again all day tomorrow as well. So if you're subscribed on YouTube, be sure notifications are turned on so that you know when I am live, and I'll be out and about in it, and you'll see what's going on. All right? Thank you very much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll have another update for you in this format later tonight.